I thought long and hard about it, but I emailed in the end and asked if I could buy that drum. So I've been reviewing drums for 20 years, actually. 20 years for MikeDelby.com, and over those years, I have been able to buy the odd bits and pieces that I've reviewed. It's not unusual for reviewers to do that if they like something. So, yeah, I've bought a whole load of them, and I remember about 15 odd years ago. It must have been at least 15 years ago. I reviewed a whole bunch of Pearl Sensitone snare drums, and I quite like them. I mean, I think for me, the Sensitone line is very much the same as the Pearl, the Tama SLP line. There's lots of great options in there. Maybe not quite so many, but there's some great options in there for not really an awful lot of money. And I never had a problem with the original Sensitones. And at the tail end of 2021, I got 6 more Sensitones to review. Now, there was actually it was basically the 3 different shells. There was a brass, an aluminium, and a steel in 14.5 and 14.6.5. Hence the three types and 6 drums. And I remember getting the first drum out, and the first drum I happened to pull out was the 14x5 aluminium. Now, I think it was actually about this time last year when I last did a sort of Ask Me Anything video. Someone actually asked, I think, what my favourite materials were for snare drums. And after I initially said brass, I realised it's aluminium. And I don't have nearly as many aluminium drums as I do brass drums, but you know, I actually don't know why that's the case, but it is the case that aluminium. I like aluminium a whole lot more, and I like aluminium a whole lot more because basically, certainly to my ear, the sound is more pure. The sound is more pure, and there's a nice pure ring to it as well. Aluminium, if you're not really familiar with it, aluminium is quite a sort of dry sounding metal when it comes to drums. But as I said, it's got this pure tone to it, this pure overtone to it. And the 14x5 particularly, I noticed had a wonderful uniform sort of decay to it. The sound wave kind of just sort of tapered off gently like that. And I really liked that. And I really liked that particular drum. And I had that drum on this kit, well, on the kit in here, for ages, 3 or 4 weeks, I think it was. I really liked that drum, and I decided that basically, because I have 3 acrylites, I have 2 of the first generation, and then I have the more regular one, all of which are 14x5, and then I've got a couple of other Pearl aluminium drums, namely that one from the 80s and that one, the Tico Torres. I kind of thought that getting another aluminium drum was probably... Oh, in fact, actually, I've got a Provenance as well. I've got a Provenance 13x9 cast aluminium with about 3 or 5 mil thick shell. But I thought that kind of, especially with the acrylites, getting another 14x5 drum was probably not on the table. It didn't seem to be the most sensible thing to buy at the time. So I sort of decided that I wasn't going to ask if I could buy that drum. So the time comes to give the drums back, and I thought long and hard about it, but I emailed in the end and asked if I could buy that drum. And yeah, I suppose it wasn't too much of a surprise. They were already pre-sold. So they were they were going off to whichever shop had bought them. So I was like, that's fine, that's cool. I'll maybe I'll keep an eye out for one. And if I see one at the right price, then you know it's fine. So I think it's all of about a week, and maybe not even 10 days later, I see this one pop up on one of my favourite websites for a reduced amount because it was shop soiled. And in this instance, as far as I can see, shop soiled means played batterhead, which I actually don't care about. So I bought this one. I gave in. And I literally, I've taken it out of the box, and after having my daughter jump all over it, I haven't tuned it or anything, so I am about to play it for the first time. I'm going to tune it up a little bit before I play it, but yeah, so this is going to be fun. I mean, this is the Sensitone Heritage alloy. So I think this is a relatively new addition to the. I think it's a limited edition actually. It's a relatively sort of new addition to the Sensitone family. In fact, as you can see, it's got the sort of pearl bridge lugs there. I've always called them bridge lugs, but so it's a 10 lug drum. It's got the basic strainer on it. To be honest, I mean, I know I've said things about strainers like this in the past, but you know, on a drum that's kind of this sort of price, I mean, I have less issues with it. It's when almost exactly this same snare mechanism appears on the Zelkovas, which mine's up there. That I have more of an issue with it, really. It doesn't look too bad on here. It looks terrible on a Zelkova. But this has got 2.3mm super hoops. As I said, it's an aluminium shell. I forget the thickness. Comes with the smooth white ambassador, smooth white coated ambassador, or otherwise just known as a coated head, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not quite sure why it says smooth white on there, but hey, it does. And an ambassador snare side. This is possibly one of the most generic snare drum designs that you could possibly get. I mean, it is basically the 400 design. You know, I mean, it's got the center bead. It's got the you know the let's get it out of the light. It's got the crimped bearing edge. Let me see. So the snare bed comes out to about there, so you can get 42s on it. It's got a nice low mass butt plate. Obviously, you've got the nice cord there. As I said, not really the biggest fan of the throw off, but it does work. And 20 strand wires, you know, so pearls, 20 strand wires. So you know, all in all, it's one of those things. I don't buy this sort of stuff very often because it is essentially it is very vanilla in every single way. As I said, it's basically the age old metal snare drum design. But you know what? I was so thrilled with the sound of that the review drum that as I said, I bought this one off the back of it. I mean, they're not the cheapest drums. The steel ones you can get for under £300. The aluminium, this one, are kind of mid 300s, and the brass are a little bit more. Out of all of the drums, as I said, on the 6 that I had, the 6 that I had, the 2 aluminium ones were my favourite. I don't really obviously need, as I said, I don't need a 6.5. The 5, I don't, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of 5-inch drums these days. I much prefer a 6.5, but there was something about this shell that kind of got me really hooked, and I'm glad I bought it. To be honest, I am really glad that I bought it. I will take it out with me at the weekend. I won't do a full spin around. Mainly because I'm doing this late at night and this kind of spur of the moment really more than anything else. So, but as I said, I mean, if you've been watching this stuff for long enough, I mean, you're going to know what this drum looks like anyway, really. So, so here it is. This is what it sounds like. Thanks for watching. See you next time.